Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare Down greatness. 24 hours away from another set of March Madness games, and should be some fun ones, but we aren't here to talk March Madness today. We'll maybe talk about that a little bit more on Tuesday and react to some of the games, but today we got a little bit of NFL news to go over. Not too much. There's basically 3 or 4 things I want to bring up, and then we're going to go over some NFL rule proposals that pretty much are, I think basically these are the rules that they're looking to implicate or add some tweaks to, but I believe that's it. Other than that, I think everything else is pretty much going to stay the same. And then after that, I think I came up with 7 or 8 coaches I think might be on the hot seat. So we're going to talk about some coaches heading into next year that they might be in some trouble if they don't win some ball games. But first, let's hop into the news portion. The Patriots are releasing Josh Dobbs, which means that as of right now, Tommy DeVito is going to be the backup quarterback to Drake May. That's not too crazy of news, but one thing I'm curious about, I wonder if we probably won't because I think they'll get in trouble, but I wonder if we'll ever learn what was actually wrong with Drake May. It basically came out that Will Campbell did tear his ACL, so that's or MCL, I think it was. Or he played on a torn MCL at least, and that's why he didn't play the best, but I will admit, when it comes to Drake May, he for sure was not healthy at this point, and it was obviously there was way more going on than they were saying. I wonder if we're ever going to learn that. We probably won't because of the NFL injury report rule where the Patriots could get in a shit ton of trouble at this point if they basically came out and be like, yeah, he had a torn labrum in his shoulder, but we said he was fine. They get in a lot of trouble for that. So if I had to guess, we probably are not going to hear about that, but yeah. There's an NFL schedule update. The Seahawks will kick off the season on September 9th at 8:20 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Obviously, the opponent's TBD. We will learn that most likely probably May. I think May is usually when they release the schedules around. I think it's first or second week of May. And then Thursday night, we will see the 49ers versus the Rams in Melbourne. Thursday, September 10th at 8:35. I wonder. I won't lie to you. I think it's like a 16 hour. They're 16 hours ahead or something like that. That is going to be interesting. It makes sense that they're going to kick off the season with it, though. To be honest, they probably don't. I was curious how they were going to do this. I wondered if they were going to, because I was thinking about it's like, man, if you throw these 2 teams to Australia in the middle of the season, you got to give them the bye week right after, right? It's like, so at what point would you throw them out there? Now it just seems like they're going to just do it at the beginning of the season. Both these teams play on Thursday, which is whatever day in Australia, and it's like, hey, you get an extra couple of days off. Interesting. Very interesting that's at the beginning of the year instead of later on. But, yeah, so I guess we got it kind of announced. So the season... Whoa. And I kind of just glanced over it. Didn't even really say much. Seahawks are kicking off the season on Wednesday, September 9th. Is this the first time we've ever had a game kick off on a Wednesday? We've had Thursday and Friday games before, but this makes you think that this is 100% like the Australia move is why they're moving it to Wednesday. That is fascinating. I'll admit. So our season's going to kick off on a Wednesday. That just seems weird. But I'm not going to lie. I think I love it. Because that means we'll pretty much get college football Saturday, Sunday. They'll have at least one game on Monday. We'll get Tuesday off. For me, Tuesday's my birthday, so I'll probably spend some time with family and everything like that. Maybe do a little thing. It's Tuesday night, won't lie to you. Hopefully do nothing. And then you got Wednesday, football. Thursday, football. Friday, NFL probably won't have a game, but maybe there's a college game. Man, that's going to be a fun weekend to kick it off. I can't believe I just kind of blew past that. That was on a Wednesday. That is very fascinating that the season will be kicking off on a Wednesday, but and the fact that they're going to Australia right away. So we got Rams and who was it? Rams and 49ers are going to Australia. And you got to think so. Logically, you would think that maybe the Seahawks are playing the Cardinals to open the season if they're already throwing one of the division games out in Australia for week 1. I will admit, I bet there is going to be some complaining about a divisional game headed overseas like that because, especially, we saw it last year in the NFC West, those division games really, really matter. The Rams basically lost a chance at hosting because of one of the divisional games. So the fact they're playing the first one right away in a really far away place, intriguing. The Buffalo Bills, they unveiled the renderings of the massive bisons they're going to have out front, which is just added on to their stadium, which I think they're moving into this year, so that's going to be really, really exciting for Buffalo. Just the fact that 27 feet tall, 23,000 pound bison, by the way. The cow and the calf we measured at 22 and 12 feet. I mean, that's pretty decent. I think their stadium's supposed to be awesome, too. The stadium is 93% complete. I won't lie to you, I was kind of stalling that whole time to see if they gave any stadium updates. So stadium is officially 93% complete. I assume they're going to be ready to go then by the start of the season. It's going to be fascinating to see the Buffalo Bills in a new home, especially because the lighting's going to be completely different. Literally night and day, damn near, from having the shadows in the old Buffalo Stadium to what this new one's going to look like. The Bengals re-signed Joe Flacco on a 1-year deal. It's worth up to $9 million. Joe Flacco also came out and said he was kind of he got a little bit upset, but he said NFL teams are kind of dumb for not looking at him as QB1, which is, you got to kind of agree with him. Obviously, he's going to say that because he's confident and he's a quarterback. You'd want your quarterback to think like that, but I mean, he didn't play horrible for the Bengals at all, and he's shown that he can still play a little bit. I mean, he doesn't play. He has his moments where it's like, oh, he does not look too good. But with how behind the QB development is now, because guys just play in college a lot sooner, and then they get in the NFL and they just play right away. So because development's down a little bit, I mean, guys like Joe Flacco could still hang on and play. I mean, that's why we saw Phillip Rivers. I mean, partially because Phillip Rivers knew the system of the Colts too, but that's also partially why we saw Phillip Rivers come back. He had no really arm strength at all, but compared to Riley Leonard, which obviously makes sense, Riley Leonard's a rookie, and obviously Anthony Richardson was dealing with his stuff, but you look at a guy like Phillip Rivers, and he almost beat the Seahawks by just being able to put the Colts in the right play, changing everything around, and it really goes to show you, like, you really don't see that too much anymore. Obviously, it happens a lot, but you don't see it to the level of, just field general command. Like, Phillip Rivers, when he was out there for the Colts for that little bit, he had command of that field. It was changing plays, moving guys to do this, moving this guy over here. I mean, like I said, obviously you still see that in the NFL and everything, but you don't nearly see it as much from these young guys as you should, because they kind of are just taking water from a fire hose instead of just being able to get it off a sink and keep it really cool. I mean, we don't see the sit for 2 or 3 years like Aaron Rodgers did behind Brett Favre very much anymore. You really see a lot of these, like Peyton Manning's, where it's like, hey, go get out there, buddy, go figure it out, and you'll either sink or swim, and that's why it's probably also a reason. I mean, it's not probably, it basically is a reason why we're seeing some of these quarterbacks bloom a little bit later, like Baker blooming a little bit later, Sam Darnold blooming a little bit later, is they play, kind of got thrown out there, sat for a year, kind of figured some stuff out, and then it's like, okay, now it's ready. And it also partially was situations as well, let's be real, but yeah, so I mean, that's why you kind of can't disagree with Joe Flacco on that. He says that teams are dumb for not looking at him, because there are definitely some teams out there that you could definitely look at their quarterback situation. Like, for example, I mean, the Vikings got Kyler Murray now, but the Vikings were a team where it's like, probably would have been a decent fit there for being a field general type, and Kevin O'Connell probably would have liked it. I mean, look at a team like the Browns. I mean, obviously they're going to go with Shedeur Sanders this year, but there's a bunch of teams like that where you kind of look at it and you're like, are you sure you like your quarterback? I mean, I think the Colts, Daniel Jones sounds like he's going to be ready for week 1, but they're a team that's like, they should have probably taken a look at least just to be like, hey, are you? But then they also have Riley Leonard. I mean, they can go both ways, but there definitely are some teams out there that you're like, interesting. The Saints are signing Zach Wilson to a 1-year deal. He's going to back up. I can't believe he's only 25 years old. That is crazy. You want to talk about a guy who's been through a bunch of shit. He's going to be with Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. You got to think that maybe that bumps Spencer Rattler a little bit, but yeah, that is a not too bad signing by the Saints at all. It's obviously a depth move, but that is Tyler Shuck's job at this point, because he balled out last year. I'm not going to lie. I really thought there was a chance he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year for us, but he just hurts my heart to think about, man. He just wasn't able to do it. He was really, really close, but he just ended up falling short to the season that Tedero McMillan had, which he also had a pretty good season as well. But yeah, decent little move from the Saints right there. And last thing we're going to talk about, let's talk about those NFL rule changes. I guess one more thing I forgot to bring up that I didn't bring up yesterday. Travis Kelce signs a 3-year deal, which a lot of mirror dressing and everything. It's a 3-year deal worth $54 million. It's basically a 1-year deal worth $12 million. Every year after that's voidable. So it's basically sounds like he's going to be basically playing up to 3 more years, but it's going to be like a year-by-year basis. And yeah, shout out to Travis Kelce for that. But some of the rule changes or rule proposals, that are being brought up. The kicking team can declare an onside kick at any time during the game, which just makes sense in general. Like, you should be, hey, if you want to kick it one in the first quarter, you should be allowed to. I mean, you have to declare it anyway. You should be able to do it whenever you want. You shouldn't have to be able to change. So that's one I could potentially see going through and everything. Eliminating kicking teams' incentive to intentionally kick the ball out of bounds when kicking off from the 50-yard line. That makes sense because, I mean, it does look. That's another one that, it just makes sense because, let's be honest, it is kind of gimmicky that, like, hey, it benefits us to actually kind of kick it out of bounds and just. I'm not going to go as far as say it makes a mockery of the game, but kind of similar vein where it's just like, I mean, hey, credit for finding a loophole in the rule, but you got to think they're probably going to clear that up. Modify the kick alignment requirements for the receiving team players in the setup zone. I don't know about that one. We'll have to see about that. So all these are by the competition committee to allow league personnel to consult with on-field officials when considering disqualification for both flagrant football acts and non-football acts. Allow league personnel to consult with on-field officials. I think that's not too. I don't think that'd be too bad. Especially it depends, obviously, but that seems like a rule where it's like if the officials are going to eject a guy in the league's obviously like, hey, we really don't need to do this. Let him stay in the game. That's going to be good, but it's going to become an issue the other time if the refs are like, yeah, we think that's good and everything, and then the officials come in, or the league officials, or league office, whatever, comes in like, actually, we want him gone. That's where I think it's going to become an issue, so it's like, kind of good, kind of not. We'll have to see on that. And for 1 year only, the NFL officiating department, so this is for only 1 year, this is by the competition committee, is to allow the NFL officiating department to correct clear and obvious misses made on the field, or I'm just going to reread this because I butchered some words real quick, and it's very, very lawyer talky, so obviously it's very, very official. For 1 year only, to allow the NFL officiating department to correct clear and obvious misses made by on-field officials that impact the game in the event there is a work stoppage involving the game officials represented by the NFL Referees Association. I was also trying to get a little bit ahead of that. So basically, this is just coming. But I will sum this down in the dumbest of terms. If there is a chance that there is a work stoppage again, like we had the referee strike, I think in like 2013, whatever year that was. This basically comes down to if we have another issue like that and they have these like replacement referees, it basically is like, all right, Gene Steratore can make the call if he thinks it's the right call. It's basically what it comes down to. So it's like if one of the guys on the field they say like, hey, this is roughing the passer. Maybe that's not one you can challenge, so we'll say pass interference. Say that it's a pass interference call, whatever, and they call pass interference, and Gene could be like, he didn't even touch him. Pick that shit up. They're going to pick it up. And that's basically what that rule comes down to. I think I kind of like that one, honestly. Yeah, I think those are going to be some big ones. To permit players, another one that they're talking about, this is a bylaw proposal, permit players on the reserve physically unable form list to begin a 21-day practice period after the club's second game of the regular season. I think that's basically, I think they have to wait 3 or 4 games, so maybe that's a thing just to make it, bump it up to 2. So these are all proposals so far that are going to be at the meetings where it's like they're going to basically vote on these to see if these actually go through or not. This is one by Pittsburgh to make permanent change to implement during the 2025 season that permits clubs to have 1 video or phone call with no more than 5 prospects. Basically, now you got to get more lawyer talk, but basically, so this was like one of the first years where they were able to have phone calls and video calls with some of the guys they wanted to get in free agency, which I think should just be a rule in general. The times are changing, so hopefully they implement this rule and keep it, because there's apparently stories of like guys who really didn't know situations they were walking into because coaches couldn't really talk to them, and they could. So it's basically just like very minimal communication. And then there's a guy who signs with the team on this deal, and he's just like, "Oh, I actually don't want to play here at all. This place fucking sucks." So this is going to be a situation where, hopefully, if they let this through, they'll be able to talk to guys and kind of give them an idea, which makes sense. I mean, if you're spending all this money on an investment in these players, you should be allowed to talk to them. We already talked about Cleveland to allow 5 draft selections to be traded. We'll see if that happens. We'll see. I don't think that one's going to end up coming through. Then there is 5 playing rules we're going to talk about. To permit the kicking team to clear... Oh, we already talked about this. Okay, never mind. So, basically, yeah, so I don't know why there's... Okay, so sorry, I took 2 screenshots and I really need to take 1. So those are basically some of the rules we're going to be looking at going into the next season. That might be changed, might not. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. I think league meetings are... I'm not even going to fake like I know. I know it's upcoming, and I believe it's before June 1st. I just don't know if it's how late it is after the draft, or if it's maybe right before the draft. But those are some of the big rules changes. If I had to guess, the Pittsburgh one's probably going to go through. Onside kick one's probably going to go through. I don't think that Cleveland one's going to go through. I think it's going to be good there. So now let's head over to the last portion and last thing I want to talk about today. Coaches in the hot seat. And basically, like I said, there's 7 guys I want to talk about. We'll give them all levels 1 through 5. There's a lot of coaches that should be fine. Like, for example, Mike LaFleur, it's his first year. He's probably going to be fine. Kevin Stefanski, first year in Atlanta. He's probably going to be fine. Jesse Mentor, first year in Baltimore. He's probably going to be fine. Joe Brady, first year in Buffalo. There's a lot of these guys. There is an offset. We saw it with the Patriots. They fired, I can't even think of it, Gerard Mayo, so they could get Mike Vrabel in. So there's obviously a chance of that, but I think there's some situations where those guys should be fine. And then there's other situations like Andy Reid. I think Dan Campbell's probably, like, Andy Reid, Dan Campbell, Mike McDonald, some of these guys where it's like, they're going to be fine this year. This is just for this upcoming season. This isn't like, hey, 2 or 3 years from now, it could get shaky. But this is just for this season. Like, if it goes really, really disastrous, there could be, this guy might be gone. So, let's talk it through. I'm going to get some of the least obvious ones out of the way that I really don't fully believe in, but I just wanted to have up here just because. We'll say like level 1, don't really have to worry about it. Level 5's, that seat is hot, boy. Kyle Shanahan, first one. This is obviously a level 1 one, I think. This is just, the only reason I'm bringing this up is just because they've kind of hit the wall a little bit with not making it to the Super Bowl recently. They just had 2 Super Bowls recently, but they're I don't want to say plateauing either, but it's starting to get that time where he's been there a while. Is the message getting dry? Like I said, I really don't truly believe in this one. He was just one of the guys on the list I was looking at. It's like, it wouldn't be totally shocking, but I don't see it happening. So I don't think we really got to worry about that one. Another level 1 one is Kevin O'Connell. This is simply just a last year situation. They already fired the GM, so that kind of goes to show you, like, it's probably the GM that had a lot of the issues going on and everything. So he should probably be safe if we had to guess, but I just wanted to bring him on the list because there's a chance if this quarterback situation doesn't work out this year, maybe. But with how good he's been, I don't think Minnesota would be that dumb to move on from him this quick. And like I said, the main thing is they already got rid of the GM, so I think that was kind of them admitting who was at fault there. Dan Quinn, I'll put him at level 2. I think he's going to be fine, though. It's only, they did have a really rough year last year, but Jaden Daniels was hurt a lot. They had a lot of old guys on defense who, when that happens, it can go either really good or it can go pretty bad, and it went pretty bad for them. All the reason I'm putting it at level 2, maybe if he has another bad year this year, obviously Jaden Daniels is going to be safe. I assume the GM is most likely. I think if anybody's not safe in that organization, it's probably... Well, first off, it's probably the OC. They just moved on from the OC, I guess, but OCDC. But then it would probably be Dan Campbell. Or, excuse me, Dan Quinn. Just because... And like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. This is one of those ones that... No, not really. Nick Sirianni. I'm going to put that one as level 2 as well. I think he should be fine, but they did have a really rough season last year, but they just won the Super Bowl recently. They've been in a couple Super Bowls. He's a really good coach for him. It's Philadelphia. You know how it can be down there where it can get really loud. They're really passionate. Good way to put it. But that passion can turn on you real quick if they're not a big fan of you. Like I said, this is another one of those. Basically, the first 4 names I mentioned. It's the last 4 that I'm really looking at. They're like, they actually might be in some trouble. But like I said, I really don't think Nick Sirianni is. It's just maybe. Like I said, I don't think so, but maybe. The next one we'll move to. This one, depends on when his deal expires. Zach Taylor. We're going to put this one on level 3. This is one that, main reasons on level 3, his deal does end in 2027. He's under contract through the 2027 season, so we'll have to see because we know how cheap the Bengals are, but the AFC North completely cleaned house. Tomlin's gone. Harbaugh's gone. Kevin Stefanski's gone. And now you're looking at Zach Taylor as the only really guy that's left. You got to think that they might be... I mean, you would got to think that they're looking to maybe kind of get a little fresh restart here soon. But at the same time, it's the Bengals, so who really knows? With how cheap their owner's been and everything when it comes to spending on the team and just team building in general. I mean, it's just they had that. It's just crazy to think that they were so close to the Super Bowl, and since then, it's just been an absolute disaster. And not totally to Zach Taylor's fault. Like, I'm not totally blaming him. I think he's a pretty decent play caller, but I don't want to say pretty. He's definitely a lot better than that. He's a really good play caller, but there's some. I'm going to talk about. There's going to be another guy I talk about here soon that's going to be very, very same boat as Zach Taylor. He might even be the next guy I talk about, but I think he's a really good play caller. But when it comes to some of the actual like head coaching and decision making in the game, it's kind of like. Definitely could be a little bit better because there's times where they throw a lot. It's like, well, you just threw 3 times, went 3 and out. Your defense was just on the field for 10 plays, and hey, guess what? They're right back out there where other coaches be like, hey, let's run the ball or two, let's get the clock moving, do some stuff like that. So there is some questionable head coaching stuff when I look at him where it's like offensive play calling wise, he does really, really good, but head coaching wise, you look and it's like, that could have been a little bit better, man. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure just because, like I said, the Bengals don't like spending money. So I don't believe it ends at the 2026 season. I think it ends. That's why I'm curious if it ends next season or if he has one more year. I always get kind of confused in the like 2025, 2026 part of this year because it's like, at least with college football, it's like the 2025 season because, yeah, the final game ends basically in January of 26. But, majority of the season plays there. And the NFL kind of bleeds into the next year a little bit more. So I believe it's end of next year is when his deal ends. So if that is the case, there is a chance they might be moving on from him because there's already talk going into this offseason about moving on from Zach Taylor. So we'll just have to see. I think another level 3 guy that I think this guy is definitely like it's at a crossroads this season. Shane Steichen of the Indianapolis Colts. Yet again, another guy I really like his play calling, head coaching wise. There are some decisions in games where it's just like, I'm not going to act like I'm the best head coach either, but there are some play calls where even I'm just kind of like, I don't know about that, but all right, we'll see how it goes. He had a really good year last year to start off, and then they just absolutely fell through the shitter when the quarterback got hurt along with everybody else. But the only reason I say he's at level 3 is because, I mean, if the Colts do bad this upcoming season, Ballard's for sure gone. I think that he for sure is going to end up getting moved on from. I think they damn near would have done it this year if the Irsay girls, it wasn't their first year as owners, and obviously they cared about their image. They didn't want to be the first thing to do as owners. Be like, all right, our first season's over. We did have a really good start to the season, then just bottom out. But Ballard, get the hell out of here. I definitely think, though, that if they have a bad season, Ballard is for sure gone. I'm not 100% sure what they would do with Shane Steichen. I would think that there's a chance I think they might let him go, but he would get scooped up instantly because of his play calling. Like it's one of those. It would suck to see him go, but they might just do it to get a GM and a head coach together, unless they find a GM that would like to pair with Shane Steichen. But overall, he's one where I don't think he'll be gone, but it's going to really, really depend on how the Colts season goes. And oh man, I'm nervous for them. I think they have a really, really good chance to have a good season, but it's going to come down to Daniel Jones' health. And like I said, this is like a kind of crossroads season for the Colts. They have a really bad year. There's a chance that they kind of blow it up and rebuild a little bit, but they paid Daniel Jones. They paid Alec Pierce to kind of invest in this offense, so he might be fine. But Ballard's the real one. I mean, Ballard is a level 5 hot seat where it's like, hey, he is on his last legs. They need to figure something out or he's probably going to be gone. And then we'll have 2 coaches that I'll put at level 4 to finally talk about last. We'll go with Aaron Glenn first. I don't think they'll get rid of him this season, but you already hear some of the mindset from the Jets is don't win too many games this year, but be competitive enough to prove, basically to keep their jobs. And then next year in 2027 this year where they'll really go for it because they have a lot more draft picks in 2027 where it's supposed to be a bit juicier of a draft, especially at quarterback, but he has to make it to year 2. Year 1 was really, really bad for the Jets, and there was a lot of stuff that came out that wasn't the best look, but you also, it's one of the situations, can't fully blame him, although you can blame him a good portion of it. Can't fully blame him because of the Jets organization and who the Jets are, but it seems like they're starting to figure some stuff out. We talked about it a little bit earlier this offseason, but their owner, he's going to step back a little bit from as hands-on as he kind of was with doing stuff, and he gave power to, I think it was the GM or somebody else, and whoever he gave that power to, the owner made it very, very clear. Aaron Glenn reports to this guy. There's no more. These two are at the same level. Aaron Glenn reports to this guy. So that is the first step where it's like, all right. For me, that immediately took it from level 2 to level 3. And then, like I said, I just bumped it up to level 4 because if he truly has another bad season, he is probably gone as a head coach. Because it was really bad that first year. And especially defensively, they did not look the best defensively. And that's what he was brought in for. Not only did they not look the best defensively, they didn't have a single interception all year long, which is just... It's impossible. Like, you saw some of the picks that Geno Smith was throwing. Like, they couldn't get, like, a pick like that where they were just able to luck into one. Not really good. And, yeah, just the Jets in general, like I said. They could keep him because they're the Jets, but I do think he is a coach that, if it goes really, really bad again this year, they might just let him go and try to restart with somebody else. And then the final coach I want to talk about that is for sure on a level 4, Todd Bowles. Not the best of seasons. The end of the year last year, they've really had some... Bucks have really had some mediocre seasons these last couple of years where it's like they should be a lot better than they are, and then they just kind of flame out as the season goes on, kind of lose a little bit of gas. He already kind of retooled his whole staff, basically, so that kind of is the first sign of like, all right, we really got to fix this, or I'm basically the next guy to go. And Aaron Glenn did the same thing. They fired some guys on the staff and everything. And usually that's a sign to me. It's like, all right, if the coach is like firing a lot of people on the staff and they aren't firing themselves, which obviously the coach wouldn't fire himself, but they're doing stuff like that, and then it's like, all right, he really knows that like they got to start winning some games and everything. And yeah, for Todd Bowles, he's been there for a long time now, the post Super Bowl era, and it's like I said, they should have some better seasons than they've had. They have won some divisions, but they're winning at like 9-8, 8-9. There's just some games they shouldn't be losing. He has a little bit of an older mindset, so you would wonder if the Bucs are starting to think maybe we should just move on to a newer guy, get a newer mindset in here. But I don't think Todd Bowles is a horrible coach at all, but you can see there's definitely some games that you just kind of look at him like, what is going on there with you? But like I said, so they're really the 4 coaches that I'm going to be. And we'll come back and visit this topic again, I think, closer to when the season starts, maybe, because I know we do. This might be like a July combo that I bring back up to see if anything has changed. But Zach Taylor, Shane Steichen, Todd Bowles, Aaron Glenn, those are the 4 names that I'm really going to keep an eye on. Because we had 10 names get fired last year. I don't know if we're going to have 10 again this year. It doesn't seem like we will based off going off the coaching list, but you got to think there's going to be probably around like 3-ish jobs that move. Those are the 4 guys I'm keeping an eye on. It's like, if it goes bad, I don't know if you guys are safe. But thank y'all for watching today's report. Really do appreciate it. I'll be back in this feed on Tuesday. Go over some more NFL news from the weekend and react a little bit to the fun games of March Madness. We got the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 this weekend. Should be some great games to watch. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And